I hope there's some seniors missing.
My husband got some about they had to verify.
All right. Why are you not wearing your mask back there? And why are you drinking in chapel? I beg pardon? I'm sorry, I wasn't talking to you, Molly. I was talking to the gentleman behind me. So do you have some excuse by which you do not?
No, I just was away from you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. All right. Okay, we good at this? No, Reed, we're not started. We are started? You mean you're getting all this on camera? Oh my God. Okay. Well. All right, are we rolling? Yes. Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. And good morning, everyone out there on campus in your various classrooms. Welcome to Webb School for the 2020-21 school year. There's, just for those of you, and after I've been yelling at y'all to mask up, I'm just going to take mine off for a moment. I'm Mr. L.R. Smith, and I teach ethics. I'm the so-called chapel guy. You'll see me at the beginning of chapel, at least of a morning. This is chapel. Again, for those of you who are new to this, chapel is the one time of the day when the entire community is together. Please, in your rooms, class of 2021, right here before our eyes, sit up, pay attention. There's a lot of good stuff comes through here. A lot of information comes out during chapel, so you need to pay attention to it. Usually, you are all here together in the same room, and circumstances are preventing that. There is a saying, and some say it's a blessing, many say it's a curse. May you live in interesting times. We are certainly living in interesting times. And these times require us, may I ask you to sort of turn around and put your feet, that's you, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, there we go. These times are such that we're all going to have to pull together, even more than usual. That I beg you that for the entire year to exercise patience, forbearance, and cooperation, especially the class of 2021. You, ladies and gentlemen, are the leaders of the school, and you must lead by example. You must. Your predecessors, the class of 2020, that will always be remembered as the class that graduated in the 150th year of the school, that they will also be remembered as being the COVID class, if you will, that you, however, ladies and gentlemen, have the honor of being the 150th class of the Webb School, at least by my mathematics. That you guys are the 150th class, and so that is that's an honor that you need to live up to. That, by the way, this isn't the first time that the school has gone through a pandemic. that 102 years ago, the school went through the great influenza of 1918, the Spanish influenza epidemic, and the school stayed open. And I expect we're going to stay open, that in one way or the other, that y'all are going to be here. And so, but, you know, we're going to all have to pull together on it. That for, yeah, even though these are interesting times and different times, some things remain the same. That we always start chapel with the scripture, and we always start the session with Sonny Webb's favorite scripture, and that's the first Psalm. And here it is. Hear the word of the Lord. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth will prosper. The ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind driveth away. And therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. Amen. The first Psalm sort of brings together everything that we want y'all to become. We want you to become young people of honor, and of character, and good repute. I do want to add another scripture to that, one that you've heard me read time and again. That comes, it's from the book of James, chapter 3. Comes out of the Message. Now, I don't know how y'all feel about the Message, but there are those who like it and those who don't. That I rather like it. This is James, and it speaks to what we need to be doing this year. Do you want to be counted wise, to build a reputation for wisdom? Here's what you do. Live well. Live wisely. Live humbly. It's the way you live, not the way you talk, that counts. Mean-spirited ambition isn't wisdom. Boasting that you are wise isn't wisdom. Twisting the truth to make yourselves sound wise isn't wisdom. It's the furthest thing from wisdom. It's animal cunning, devilish cunning. Whenever you're trying to look better than others or get the better of others, things fall apart and everyone ends up at the other's throats. Real wisdom, God's wisdom, begins with a holy life and is characterized by getting along with others. It is gentle and reasonable, overflowing with mercy and blessings, not hot one day and cold the next, not two-faced. You can develop a healthy, robust community that lives right with God and enjoy its results only if you do the hard work of getting along with each other, treating each other with dignity and honor. And that's, I think, very much the hallmark that we need to reach up to this year. These are interesting times. These are uncharted waters. That there's going to be a lot of things new around here. That most of us are here on campus. Some of us are not here on campus. They are distance learning. Most of your teachers are here on campus. Some of your teachers will not be here on campus. They will be distance teaching. The mechanics of life at the Webb School are going to be different. that some of the requirements that we will place upon you are going to be different from what you are used to. But I do wish that you would mask yourselves properly by pulling it up over your nose. But I do hope, and I do implore you, that to cooperate with one another, to cooperate with your teachers, with your supervisors, with your administrators, to make this year work properly. So that's enough for me. That it is my pleasure to introduce to you does an interim count?
That's a great question, and they're still debating.
Okay. I am, by my math, and again, I failed math, but by my math, I believe I'm going to introduce you to the 10th headmaster in the history of the Webb School, Mr. Ken Cheeseman. So, Mr. Cheeseman, it's all yours.
Thank you, sir. Good morning. So they can't see you, seniors, but they can hear you. So good morning. That's a little better. Thank you, Mr. Smith. Excited to be with you. There are many days, I'm sure, that you students, both the ones here, our seniors here, and those of you in your individual classrooms, wondered whether we would actually be able to be in person. So I am very grateful that indeed we are in person. I was looking last night and again this morning to see if I could find a statistic to discern what percentage of U.S. high schoolers are actually in person this year. My guess is about half, but I haven't been able to find that statistic. So if any of you find it, please let me know what that is. But I'm blessed to be with you, for us to be in person. As Mr. Smith said, 150 years. That's a big deal. It's a big deal in lots of ways. One of them is that we are in a long line of men and women who have come through the Webb School as students, as teachers, as leaders. One of the things that binds us is that what happens here is really special. And what happens here prepares us, particularly you students, to go from this place to do really good work to make the world a better place. And so I encourage you to be thinking about that. It's easy, particularly as a student day to day, to just kind of pass through and not think about what is it that you're being prepared to do. And the way I see it, you're being prepared really to make a significant difference in the world. And there are many from the Webb School who have made huge impacts on this country and throughout the world. And so I encourage you to think in those ways. Seniors, I am looking forward to working with all the students, but particularly you. It is my hope that we can recreate processes, that we can sharpen the work that you do with the faculty. I'm really hopeful that by the time you graduate, we have created some really genuine partnerships so that we're hearing your voices, your authentic voices, to see what we can do to make the Webb School the best it can be. So I am looking forward to genuine, authentic partnership between you and particularly Mrs. Sullins and her student affairs team and the rest of the faculty. So that is a hope that I bring as your new head of school. My entire family is excited to join the Webb family. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my family, but I'm going to start with the last name. So let's go ahead and get that one out of the way. Cheeseman, and you might be surprised to know how many times I actually have to tell people how to spell that, right? It's actually cheese and then man. As you can also imagine, in middle school, I heard every iteration of cheese you can imagine. But the name comes from English dairy farmers and cheesemakers. That's the real deal. And so there we have the funny last name. But a little bit about my family. So many of you will have the opportunity to meet Mrs. Cheeseman, who will mostly be known on campus as Coach Cheeseman. So she is our new cross-country coach, and hopefully be starting track sometime in the next year or so as well. But she has been a teacher. She has been a coach for the last 30 years at independent schools up and down the East Coast. And so she, along with I, am excited to be with you. We have 4 children. Our oldest is a Davidson College grad who just got married a couple weeks ago, and she teaches in Charlotte. Our next daughter is a senior at Belmont University studying business. Both of them are graduates of Brentwood Academy, just up the road. Our son is a sophomore at Notre Dame, and he is going through many of the same challenges you are going through right now. Their mask requirements are similar, and he is a runner, and he actually has to run with his mask as well. So it's an interesting day. I thought that word was spot on that Mr. Smith said. It's an interesting day, the things that we have to do differently. Our youngest is Abby Faith, and she's in 8th grade here. And so she is sitting in Mrs. Sullen's advisory right now. And all of you students, particularly you seniors, if you have not been to Bradley yet, I encourage you to stop by sometime today. It's stunning in its transformation. So it's a really fun space. So that's a little bit about our family. We have been in independent schools up and down the East Coast, as I said. The first 7 years of our career was boarding and day school, and then we spent 24 years in just primarily day schools. But I'm excited to be back at boarding school. So one thing about our living on campus that I want to just go ahead and start the year with. As you know, previous heads have lived in the Hefner House on campus, and we will be in the Hefner House sometime soon. I just don't know how soon. So one of the things we want to make sure is that house is a house that's not just for the Cheesemans, but that is a house that's for the entire Webb family. And so we're going to do some serious renovations to that house so that it can be a house where students come down often, where faculty come down often, where alums come down often. So as much as I would like to be on campus every day, that project's going to take a little time. And so as soon as that project is done, we will be living on campus. So again, as I close this part of the introduction, I am genuinely excited to be here. I'm honored to be here. I don't choose that term lightly. This is a special place, and I'm glad to be here and to lead the school. I'm going to introduce now Mr. Callis to you. He's going to come up. He is the new associate head for finance and operations. So all the business operations and all the maintenance, building and grounds, those sorts of things are under his leadership. Mr. Callis and I have known each other a long, long time. We first started working together in 1995 at Brentwood Academy, and then we worked together at St. Paul, and then we haven't worked together for about a decade, and now back together again. So I'm pleased to introduce Mr. Callis. He'll tell you about himself, his family. He's also going to tell you a little bit about the campus improvements that you will expect to see as you go around campus. So, Mr. Callis.
Good morning. I'm excited for the opportunity to address you for a number of reasons. This might be the first of those reasons, the chance to get my mask off for a minute. Maybe you're feeling the same way. I wish I could see your faces because we've been working, Mr. Cheeseman and I and all the administrative staff, for several months to get ready for you. And I've always said that a campus without kids is like a person without a heart. There's something significant that is missing that you have now restored. So we're glad that you're here, And as Mr. Smith said earlier, I very much look forward to seeing how the class of 2021 is going to lead us. I'm certain that it will be exemplary. As Mr. Cheeseman said, he and I have worked together now for the third time, first in 95 at Brentwood Academy. My career started at Brentwood Academy in 91, so I've not quite as engaged a resume as Mr. Smith, but long enough. My family is 3 daughters and a wife. The oldest daughter is married with our grandson, who will be visiting us this weekend. He is about to turn 2. His name is Noah. He is the delight of my life. Don't tell my wife and kids that. I'm teasing their delights as well. But they live in Atlanta, in Kennesaw actually, just outside of Atlanta, where I have been a head of school for the last 9 years. I'm glad to be back in Middle Tennessee, and Middle Tennessee is home. I was born and raised in Nashville, born in the late 60s at Vanderbilt Hospital actually. So Middle Tennessee is very much in my heart. Our middle daughter, Chloe, is 22. She's with us right now, helping us get settled in our new home in Murfreesboro. And our youngest is 14, and she is a freshman here at Webb. Her name is Chelsea. And like Abby Faith, she too is sitting in her advisory. Although I tried to take her to Mr. Quinn this morning, her first period class, and Mr. Quinn promptly instructed me that I had taken her to the wrong place. Thank you, Mr. Quinn. So we made the trek from art all the way back over to the big room. And if you've made that trek before, you know that you probably couldn't measure 2 classrooms that are farther from each other than Miss Gilgenbach's room and Mr. Quinn's room. So I worked up a good sweat along with Chelsea this morning before coming to chapel, but that's all right. Good for the heart. If you've been here, raise your hand if you've been here since 6th or 7th grade. Most of you, actually. So you've seen this campus go through a period where not much changed. And my guess is if you've been a stranger to campus over the summer and you came back just over the weekend or maybe even just this morning, you probably noticed a few things that have changed. So since I came in late April, early May, we have been really, really busy trying to restore various aspects of the campus. Maybe the most notable is the water tower. The water tower that had stood for some 80 plus years, give or take, has come down and it's been replaced by a beautiful new Webb blue water tower. We're awfully proud of that. Chambliss has gotten a much needed facelift. If you've seen that, Rand is in the process of getting a facelift. The health center will be next. Bradley, as Mr. Cheeseman mentioned, has undergone an absolute Cinderella pumpkin to a chariot sort of transformation. You have to poke your head in there to believe it. I can't do it justice with words. Just trust me. If you walk by Bradley, do yourself a favor, poke your head in there, you will be impressed. Right next door, the old library has similarly gone through a pretty dramatic transformation this summer. Home to the Garcias. They are operating now in what is a really, really nice space. So again, take a look in there. And also the big room where a lot of your classes will be. The big room, too, has undergone a pretty significant transformation. New paint, new carpet everywhere you look, including the main hallway. Carpeted hallway lends to community. When you can hear yourself talk in between classes with your neighbor, that helps relationships. Flooring matters, so you will notice that the big room has undergone quite a transformation as well. And we're not done. Over the next months and years, we'll be transforming the campus bit by bit along the way. We have been trimming trees everywhere you look. This is a gorgeous 140-plus acre campus with many lovely trees, but several of them had fallen into disrepair through a few years of neglect. So we've had a team of tree trimming professionals hard at work making our trees beautiful again. And we'll do the same with the lawn and everywhere you look, sidewalks, dorm rooms, dining hall, etc. This school, 151 years now, in operation is a school of excellence, and you deserve, the faculty who teach you deserve, for the facilities to reflect that excellence. And in many cases, they did already. Where they did not, it is my intention to make certain that they do going forward. I'm excited to be here. I'm here to help you. If you see me along the sidewalk, I hope you'll say hi. I will make certain to do the same, although I'll be wearing a mask, so you'll have to see the smile through the mask. Grateful to be here, and now I think if Ms. Takari is ready, I'm going to ask her to come up and share a few things with you as well. She's got the long walk. This is what happens, Ms. Takari, when you camp out in the back of chapel. You never know when I'm going to drop the bomb and require you to run like a game show participant, run from the back as though I have a prize. Thanks, Mr. Kari.
So, seniors, I'm so excited for you guys to be back here because last year's senior class unfortunately missed a whole bunch of their senior year. So I'm so excited that you're here. And a lot of times there's like, for people who work in schools, there's milestone classes. And you guys may not know this, but you're one of my milestone classes. Because when you started as 9th graders, I was in my first year here at Webb. So it's kind of exciting. I feel like your graduation is going to be a cool moment for me. I'm going to go on the other side so I can be maskless. I'm here to talk about our daily schedule, which confused a lot of people. It's a big change from last year. But essentially, if you guys were here last year, it's just like Tuesday and Wednesday's block days, only just a little bit shorter, because we had to add some kind of buffer time in. So a blue day, if you think about it, is really just like a Tuesday block day, and a gold day is like a Wednesday block day. Blue days have the same 4 periods every single time. You do have 10 minutes of passing time so that you guys can get from place to place. I'm a little worried about congestion in the big room and whether or not we might have to stagger release times in there to keep our hallways a little less congested. So you guys have a little extra passing time, but you'll note too that there's no back-to-back classes. That's also on purpose. Our teachers are going to have to be wiping down their classrooms, and you may be helping in that endeavor. So just keep that in mind. In the mornings, you guys all know you go to your health check location, right? Everybody's got their bracelets on today? Awesome. So you go to your health check locations, and then you'll head off to your first period class. Chapel, seniors, you guys will be in here for chapel, every chapel period, okay? This is your space, and you've earned it. B period, and then we've got 3 lunch periods. Please go to the lunch period that you are assigned to. We just do not have enough seating capacity up there. There's also there's a rotation, so some grade levels will be eating in the Alumni and Development Office. So the first lunch period is just for middle school. During that time is upper school extra help. The second lunch period will be for 9th and 11th grade. And the third lunch period is for 10th and 12th grade. So you guys go last. But you'll have plenty of time to get some food. Afternoons, C and 4th, there's a break in between. All right, and then on your gold days, same deal. You have advisory twice a week. Those fall on your gold days. And at the end of the day will be club period on gold days or Feet Life. Feet Life is an additional community time. It's for you guys to do grade level activities. It's for us to have additional advisory time. There'll be things that are programmed into Feet Life. If there's nothing that is programmed, you'll automatically be with your advisors during that time, okay? So if there's nothing that's programmed that you're aware of, go to your advisory. So a lot of people were a little confused about RenWeb versus the way that this schedule looks. So sorry, Amelie, but I borrowed your schedule. That's what RenWeb looks like, and you just have to match them up, right? So your A period class goes with your A period on the blue and gold schedule. Got it? Pretty easy? Okay. The only other thing I want to mention while I'm up here for upper school students, you guys have an add drop period. You may add a class for the first 2 weeks of school. So that would be ending, the add period ends at 3 p.m. on August 28th, 2 weeks from today, this week and next. Your drop period, you may drop a class all the way up to the second grading period of that class. However, seniors, you guys have to have 5 classes. Sam Hastings, see me afterwards. You have to have 5 classes. So if you're thinking you might drop a class, it would be wise to add one in its place. Because if it's your 5th class and you want to drop it, you're not going to be able to. Okay? So drop period 2 weeks, I'm sorry, longer than 2 weeks, add period 2 weeks. All right? You guys have questions for me about the schedule? We're good? You excited? I can tell. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Takari. Want to just take a moment in the presence of all of you on campus to state what is likely the obvious, and that is your Dean of Academics and Arts is extraordinary. I have been in this business for 31 years, and she is among the best at thinking through the academic pieces of your day. So know that you're blessed to have her. We're all blessed to have her. So I'm about to finish up, and we're going to move into the last phase of our opening chapel. And so I'm going to build on what Mr. Smith said in the opening. I loved his words from James because they're spot on as we begin the year. And that is the COVID Community Commitment Letter. So each of you in your advisories in just a moment are going to walk through the particular details of the COVID commitment. And so what I want to say about that is we really do want to be in person, and I'm a little bit of a control freak. As you get to know me, you'll probably see that. But I'm in one of those places where I cannot control at all our ability to stay in person. You students are the ones who control that. And we have to make a commitment to each other for certain behaviors, many of which we've not had to do. It's the only way we're going to be able to stay in person. Because if we can't commit to this, if we can't do this, then we will have so many COVID cases that we will not be able to stay in person. And that, I don't want that for you. I don't want that for any of us. So really, it's on you, and you've got to make a commitment. And not just individually, but we've asked your parents to talk about what you guys do at home, because some of that has to change as well. And so we have to do different things to be safe. And even as we started this morning, as we talked to some of you seniors, it's going to be hard to break old habits. And so what I would say about that is not only am I asking you to look specifically at these behaviors and make a commitment, but encourage each other in that, right? And some of you, your natural reaction will be to get irritated with each other. Don't tell me to wear my mask. But I'm asking you, encouraging you to really be gracious to each other, because we're all going to need to be reminded. I had to remind Mr. Callis this morning that he needed to mask up. And so we're going to have to be gracious with each other, be willing to receive that kind of encouragement. And I'm not going to go through in detail, because that's what your advisor is going to do in just a moment. And so if there are any questions about this, any concerns about any part of this COVID commitment letter, please talk through it with your advisor this morning, because we do want you to sign this commitment. And this commitment covers not just when we're here. It covers 24/7. And again, it's the only way we're going to be able to stay in person. So with that, I am going to turn opening chapel over to advisors. So again, welcome to the 151st year of the Webb School. Excited to be with you. Excited for our opening day. And yes, sir.
May I have a word?
Okay, so before I officially end chapel, and one of the things I asked Mr. Smith in a meeting this past week was, can you please be my partner in chapel to make sure that I don't make any Webb faux pas? And I was about to make one. So Mr. Smith's going to come back up and close us out.
Thank you, Mr. Cheeseman. And I should have gotten with you before that. But anyway, again, a lot of things are different. A lot of things do remain the same. So we will end each chapel with the pledge. I don't know, Reed, can you put that thing on the flag so everybody can see it? All right, we got it? All right, very good. Seniors, look to the right. Look to the right. Look to the left. See those folks around you? All right. I want all of them to be here at the end of May 2021. Okay? Make your senior year the very best year you ever had at the Webb School. Okay. The main thing is you got to stay here. So let's all pull together and you guys lead. God bless you all. God bless this school. God bless this year. Please rise for the pledge. That's everybody in your advisories too. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This chapel is dismissed. Advisory.